Will Clemson return to the college football playoff in 2023? Is Cade Klubnik the real deal? Can Clemson's defense get back to its dominating ways? And who's going to make the college football playoff? We're going to tell you all that and more right here on the All Clemson Tigers season preview show live, presented by Alumni Hall here in downtown Clemson. I'm Brad Sinkoff, executive editor at allclemsontigers.com. Joining me tonight is, of course, recruiting director Jason Priester for All Clemson Tigers and publisher Zach Lentz from allclemsontigers.com. We're broadcasting live on this Wednesday, August the 23rd, 2023, from Alumni Hall here in downtown Clemson. And we want you to come out and see us and hang out because we've got this right here. It is, let's see. Yeah, show the folks what we got.
Let's see there.
See that?
Yeah.
That is a signed football from members of the 2018 National Championship Clemson squad. You can win that. We're going to be giving that away.
Yeah, I mean, I can't think of a very good way to have. I will say this. Getting here was a pain. And I'll tell you why, okay? So this is my little story. I was at a gas station, all right, picking up some drinks, and so I actually left it in the car for us.
It's going to be a little hot.
Yeah, all right.
We're inside.
All right, so as I was pulling into the parking space, a truck backed out and hit me. Yeah.
You had an accident on the way here?
Yeah.
Oh,
And so here's the deal, okay? So this chick, she was a little blonde-haired girl. Like, I get out of the car, I get parked, I get out, I start to, get my stuff together, because I'm going to exchange information with her because she hit the front of my car. All right? So she gives me one of these. She's like, and then, yeah.
She hit red?
Yeah.
Zach got hit and run tonight.
Nothing says the students are back more than that story right there.
Exactly. I was like, what the hell? I mean, come on. Like, are you serious? I had two guys come to me. They're like, dude, she just left. I was like, no joke. I mean, seriously? So, yeah. So that is why we are 2 minutes late getting started. I was flustered. I left our drinks in the car. So if we are parched, I mean, if someone wants to bring us some water or alcoholic beverage or something, I think that would be great. We're here at Alumni Hall, so it's easy. You can go get us something. But yeah, that was that. Jason, you have had your share of bad luck. In fact, I called you out for it. Was it 2 days ago on the radio show? And today it was my turn. Things came full circle for me. So yeah.
I hope that my bad luck is not rubbing off of you. Let's just hope this is just a one-off deal because you don't want no part of this.
Is this injuries in football where they happen and the next guy gets hurt and then it's a snowball effect on injuries? Let's hope that's not the case tonight. Let's hope that's not the case for the Clemson Tigers. So,
listen, there was not too much damage. However, I have a new Palisade. And it got just the black scratches on it.
Oh man.
And a small dent.
Well, let's see if we can turn Zach's night around as we're getting ready to talk about Clemson football, previewing the season. 2023 gets started here on Labor Day night, September 4th, against the Duke Blue Devils. Clemson hits the road and gets things started. So we're going to preview all of that for you right here on the All Clemson Tigers Show live season preview edition. But first, I want to thank Alumni Hall. In fact, they are sponsoring tonight's show. It's brought to you by Alumni Hall, your ultimate Clemson Tigers shopping experience. Shop Alumni Hall on College Avenue or anytime at alumnihall.com for the best and largest selection of Tiger apparel. You see the hats in the background. They got Yetis, accessories. Alumni Hall, where Tiger fans shop. Stop by and see them at 354 College Avenue right here in the heart of downtown Clemson. And come by and see us. We would like to see you tonight, and you can register. Your last chance to register. We're going to give this football away So you've got to register to win this thing. You got to come down here. We got some folks last time at our live show that came out and registered. Now it's your time to get in on it. It's your last chance. We're going to draw for that and give that out very, very soon. So come down here.
Yeah, I think, you and Jason also signed, for the.
I mean, we could sign a ball here. It'll be worth absolutely nothing.
I was about to say it might be worth less than nothing if I put my signature on it.
Oh, come on.
All right, folks. We want you to know what we're going to be doing here tonight. It is talking a lot of Clemson football. In fact, we got a special guest coming up in just a little bit. Daniel Shirley, the senior editor over at theathletic.com, going to stop in and spend a few minutes with us here in about 20 minutes or so. So stay tuned for Daniel Shirley. And then, of course, we're going to be talking about from this great panel up here, great looking panel too. I must say,
sharp dressed.
We're very sharply dressed. Even after Zach got hit, he's still ready to go. He's still going to bring it tonight, and I can't wait to get into it. Let's start with this, Jason. I want to ask you this: what are you most excited about for the Tigers in 2023? What do you want to see out of this team when they hit the field against Duke?
I'm going with the obvious answer. The revamped offense under Garrett Riley. It's no secret Clemson's offense has been, let's just say, less than stellar the past 2 seasons. Not what Clemson fans have become accustomed to, the passing game in particular. So that is what I am looking forward to, how a quarterback like Cade Klubnik can put some fresh energy into this program on that side of the ball and see this offense become explosive again, because it has lacked in explosiveness big time.
That is a good one. Zach, what are you most excited about to see? We've spent 8 months, almost 9 months now, talking about this team, trying to figure out what it was going to look like for 2023. You hear Jason talk about Garrett Riley coming in. What is it you want to see this year?
Honestly, I want to see the defense. We have heard a lot, about this offense and the expectations. I want to see the defense come out and dominate. I want to see a defense come out and look like the defenses of 2018, 2016. Have that desire and that passion to really shut down an opponent's offense. So I understand the majority of the fans are looking for the offense. Honestly, I am too, but honestly, this team will only go as far as Wes Goodwin's defense can take them. I think that, at times last year they were, a little bit overwhelmed, and maybe, Wes, struggled to get, his footing in his first year. I think the second year is going to be completely different. He's got some dogs up front. He's got some dogs in the secondary. And I think this is going to be an elite caliber defense.
All right, I'm going to combine the two because I want to see a sense of urgency from Clemson in 2023. I want to see that passion. Remember last year, Dabo had to call people out for lackadaisical effort on the football field. That's not something he's done very often in his career coaching the Tigers. I want to see if this team brings that fire, that energy, the way it used to be. I don't think we've seen it in a while. I think it was lacking last year. I don't know that if it was leadership. I don't know if it was just the group of players they had. But that team didn't play with an urgency. When things went wrong, it felt like they were going to snowball. I want to see a team that says, no. When things go wrong, we're going to come back and make up for it. That's what I want to see in 2023 out of this group. Because if that doesn't happen, then all talk of ACC titles and college ball playoff and all that stuff, I don't think any of that can occur. This team has got to get back to that sort of level.
Yeah, I agree. Similar to what Dow said about Cade Klubnik, in his similarities to Deshaun, and being able to take that interception or bad play and throw it out the window and come back at the very next time, knowing that they're going to go out of the field and score. So I think that, is something I agree with you on. The fact that this team has to have that sense of urgency.
That fire, if you will. We want you to get involved in the show tonight. It's not just us three talking. It's not just going to be Daniel Shirley in a little bit. It's going to be you as well. We want to get you involved. You can send us comments. You can send us questions. We're going to have segments built into our segments where we can answer some of those questions tonight. We're going to be breaking down the Clemson offense. We're going to talk about the defense. We're not going to go through depth chart stuff tonight. We're going to ask the hard-hitting questions that you want to know, and you can be a part of that too. Make sure you're listening and watching on YouTube. We're on Facebook. We're on everything right now.
Mm-hmm.
Twitter, you name it. Make sure you get
X,
yeah.
That's right.
Throw up the X, but make sure you get in and let us know. Leave comments below, and we'll get to some of those as we go throughout the show tonight. But please subscribe on YouTube if you haven't already. It really helps us out, but it helps you as well because we got a lot of stuff coming each and every week. So please go ahead and hit that subscribe button right now, and we'll get more into it, what we're going to be doing on YouTube later on. We have been doing on YouTube later on. All right, gentlemen, let's go ahead and dive into it. Let's hit the offense up. Jason brought it up first, so we're going to start with the offensive side of the ball. And I want to start with this, Jason. You mentioned Garrett Riley. My question to you is Garrett Riley's offense going to work? Do you have a belief in it? Have you seen enough from what he did in his stops at SMU, what he did as a stop at TCU last year, going to the playoff, and bringing that to Clemson and what you saw in the spring? Is this an offense that is catered to what Clemson wants to do?
Yeah, I think it absolutely is. And I think it all starts with the quarterback, Cade Klubnik. I think he is the perfect fit for this type of offense. You also have those two running backs, Will Shipley and Phil Muff, because you know Riley wants to lean heavily on that running game. That term air raid gets thrown around a lot, when talking about Garrett Riley. But make no mistake, this is an offense that is going to lean on that running game. We heard Dabo Swinney talking about if things went as planned, both those guys, those backs would go over 1,000 yards, So that's a lot of carries for the running backs. So I think you have the pieces in place for this offense to be extremely successful. And I think it all starts with quarterback, with Klubnik. He's the dual threat type of guy. He can make plays with his arm, beat you with his legs. It's just a matter of how much growth he's had from his freshman season to his sophomore season. We'll find that out in less than 2 weeks.
We've heard a lot about how this offense is easy to install. It was easy to pick up. It wasn't something they've spent months and months on. So you expect some immediate returns. Zach, is there a sense of patience, though, with Garrett Riley as he works in this personnel? He didn't have his full allotment of players during the spring, so he's really only had 3 weeks to get ready for that. Do you think he is at a stage where he's going to be able to implement this thing and have it ready to go and it look good on September 4th, or do we need to sort of pump the brakes a little?
I think he is going to have this offense ready to roll.
Okay.
And the reason is, like you said, the simplicity of it. This is an offense that is built on a few number of plays, ran from, a lot of different formations and motions and stuff. And also, I think dumbing it down. Last year, we heard all this talk about receivers running option routes and I know.
Remember the guys running circles around the field because they line up on one side, had to move to the other,
this is if you're X, you're running a post. If you're the Y, you're running a shallow cross. If you're the H, you're running a hitch. The simplicity of this, I think, will allow the offense to gel quicker and just to have a sense of camaraderie and ease quicker into this season than you have seen in previous years. Now, will there be hiccups? Of course there will. Will there be miscommunication stuff? Of course there will. But I think this offense is looking to atone for themselves after the past couple of years. And so I fully expect them to come out September 4th. And look, they want to put on a show. They want to show the nation that they are back offensively, and that Clemson is not going anywhere.
Jason, I want to get to this in a moment with Cade Klubnik, but I have to talk about the receivers for a second because all that sounds great, what Zach said, but if the receivers don't play at the high level they need to, then I don't know how much of it actually works until they're more comfortable, until they're making plays. Who knows if they even don't make plays all season long? I don't know that they need a number one guy to emerge. I don't know that they need a T. Higgins, a Mike Williams, a Justin Ross. I'm not sure they have to have it to be successful, but man, they've got to have at least a bunch of guys come together and sort of create the yards and the production that needs to occur. And maybe it's Jake Brenningstool. Maybe that's a guy who needs to pick up the pace, certainly, with that. Jason, I'll ask you, Cade Klubnik, your expectations of the young quarterback.
I've watched a lot of film on Cade Klubnik before he even got to Clemson. The kid is a winner. That's all he does is win. He's accurate, but for me, it starts with a mindset. He's just kind of oozing this level of confidence this year that we didn't quite see last year. Saw it at practice. My expectation for him is to come in, take command of this offense, and be the leader on that side of the ball. Got some glimpses of that when I was at one of the practices a couple of weeks ago, and I think that's going to bode well for this team as we get into the season, because I think leadership is something that was lacking in a big way on offense the past couple of years.
I don't think there's any question. Will Shipley and Phil Moff are going to be the guys in the backfield. Are these 1,000-yard rushers each? That's what Dabo said. Can that occur? What do you think?
I don't know, man. I think that is a awfully high ceiling. Are you ever going to pass the ball? I mean, that is.
I think you're going to Paul Johnson's, triple option, maybe.
Probably not going to do that.
Man, that's a lofty expectation.
Yeah, I'm going to hold off on making that a bold prediction here on the All Clemson Tigers season preview show live. Offensive line obviously is going to be a really big part of everything that the Tigers want to do, and I think Garrett Riley has made that very, very clear in what he's talked about with the media. Zach, do you think the offensive line is going to be an issue, or is it going to be the strength in 2023?
I think for the first time in many years, they are a strength. Not going so far as Dabo has said, that he thinks they can go 10 or 11 deep.
That's a lot.
Yeah. But I think they can go 7, 8 deep. And look, this is an experienced group. Thomas Austin has done a hell of a job, developing these guys. You have, 4 returning guys. You only lost, 1 star off last year's team. I think this year's offensive line has a chip on their shoulder, much like the entire offense. And I think you're going to see them no longer be a liability, but be a strength to this team simply because of the experience. This arguably is one of Dabo's most experienced O-lines he's had, since Eric McClain, Mitch Hyatt senior years. But the thing is, I think they are going to make a statement. The offensive line at Clemson is back.
I'm with you on that. I've been saying it for 2 or 3 years in a row now that the offense was going to be a strong suit for this team. I'm bound to be right at some point. I think I'm finally going to be right this year. That offensive line, there's more talent in there than probably they've ever had. Got a lot of experience returning. Austin's in his second year now. They know what they expect of him. He knows what to expect of them. I expect some improvement there. We're just going to have to wait and see how much.
It's not the talent. It's getting the right mix and getting the right chemistry built. And I'm not sure we know who the exact 5 are going to be. We have an idea who we think it's going to be. But Tristan Lee's got to hold down left tackle. I mean, Jordan McFadden took care of that, and you never had to worry about that for a couple of years. And now all of a sudden you got to worry about left tackle again. I don't know exactly what that's going to – I think they'll find it. That's where my patience comes, is a little bit with the offensive line. I need to see it and kind of figure it out from there. Get some questions in here. If you got some, we'd love to answer those for you. We're going to get Daniel Shirley on joining us here in just a minute before we hit the defense. But Kelly gets in and says, I agree with this wide receiver blocking a lot of big runs ETN had were sprung outside by solid blocking. I can tell you right now, you're not going to play for Garrett Riley if you can't block.
Yeah, I think that has been a big thing the past couple of years, blocking out on the perimeter with the receivers and physicality with the receivers. I'm with you, Brad. If the receivers can't get out on the perimeter and block, they're not going to be playing. Yeah. That is something that is going not to be asked of them. It is going to be demanded.
All right, let's go to Daniel Shirley joining us live here today on the All Clemson Tigers season preview show live from Alumni Hall. And Daniel, the senior editor over at theathletic.com, kind enough to join us here this evening. Daniel, what's up, my friend? How you doing?
Hey guys, how are you doing? Ignore the voice. I've been battling a little bit of a sinus infection the last few days, so but bear with me a little bit.
Yeah, you've been dealing with some stuff lately, so for a while now. So hopefully you can knock that out. Daniel, I have some questions for you that I want to get to here in concerning this team, because you followed Clemson for a long time. You've got a lot of connections with the Tigers, and I want to get your thought process on what you heard this week and really for the last couple of weeks. This team is talking about national championship in a way we haven't heard before. Dabo Sweeney's talked about it. Players have talked about it. That's not up on the goals board in their team room, but it's something you're hearing more of. Does that concern you? Do you like it? Where do you stand on this talk of getting back and winning a national championship?
It's a little surprising, isn't it? I mean, because we've heard for years that that's not the goal. If you take care of business, it can be the end goal, but that's not what they talk about. But this group seems to be talking about it, and I'm okay with it. I think every team is different, right? And was last year's team really a championship team, a national championship team? Probably not. I mean, they've won an ACC title, they won 11 games, everything that went along with that. But I think if this year's offense can kind of kick into high gear and the defense can make some improvements, I think this can be a championship team. So I'm okay with them embracing those kinds of goals if that's what they're looking at. So, now you got to go get it done. You can't talk about it and then lose 3 games, right? That really is not the way you want to get things done. But I like what I'm hearing out of this team. I like the positivity. I like the focus. It sounds like the focus is there for this team to have a really good year.
We have such sort of a, kind of a small tunnel vision on Clemson football for what we do each and every day. You talk, Daniel, to a lot of writers, a lot of coverage people around the country. You cover a wide range of teams at theathletic.com. What are you hearing from the people you talk to? What is more of the consensus about this Clemson team and what they're capable of outside of this area?
Well, I think the consensus is they've got a chance to be a heck of a team, right? If everything kind of falls in place, if Riley works out as OC, if Cade Klubnik plays well at quarterback, if the receivers step up, if the offensive line continues to improve, a lot of ifs, right? So if all those things happen, I think they can be right back to at the top, right in the hunt to be in the playoff again. But if, let's say, 2 of those things don't happen, then you're probably looking at another year like last year. But the sense I get is there's still a lot of let's see, right? I think it can happen. I think Riley can make an impression. I think Cade Klubnik can play well. I think the offensive line can improve. The receivers, I believe, can step up. I think we know what the running backs are. Those 2 running backs are as good as 2 running backs as there are in the country. But all those other pieces, it's still kind of a wait and see. And I think it's probably going to be that way through that Florida State game, right? If they come out and beat Duke and then take care of business against Florida State, I think you'll see the national kind of a storyline kind of change on Clemson going for the rest of the season.
So do you think, Daniel, that is Clemson underrated, overrated, properly rated heading into the season?
I think probably a little underrated, but not much. I mean, 9th, 10th, whatever they are in the polls, I would think they're probably a top 6 team going into the season. Again, I've still got some question marks. I've still got question marks about the defense. The defense, I thought last year really took a step back, maybe more than a lot of people wanted to admit because everybody focused on the offense and the offensive issues. But I do think they're a little bit underrated, but not grossly. I don't think, people are saying, oh, my God, this is a top 20 team, anything like that. This feels like a top 6 or 7 team going into the season. And those are the teams that are in the hunt to be in the playoff.
How much of a push do the Tigers get from Florida State this year, a team that a lot of people have fallen in love with? There's a lot of hype. I don't know what you're hearing from some of the national people you talk to, but Florida State, seemingly every day someone's talking about it. Is this going to be the biggest shot? Is this the year Florida State has the team to win the ACC and go through Tiger Town to get there.
Well, that's the storyline, I think. I don't think there's any doubt that's the biggest storyline in the ACC. If they go to Clemson and win in September, then everything changes. And they've got to beat LSU too. I mean, if they're 2-2 in September through September, then I think we were wrong about Florida State. But let's say they lose to LSU and then beat Clemson. Then I think that those two teams are. I still think, Brad, I've told you this on your show. I still think those two teams are going to play each other twice.
Yeah.
I think they're going to play in Clemson, and then I think they're going to play in Charlotte. They're clearly the two most complete teams in the conference. I think they've got the most talent. I think they've got the best coaching. I think they've got the two best quarterbacks. Well, two of the three best quarterbacks with Drake May. So I really think they're the two best teams. But Florida State, for so many years, Clemson couldn't get over the Florida State hurdle. And we talked about it a lot. And now it feels like Florida State has not gotten over the Clemson hurdle in a long time. And that's what it's going to take for Florida State to get to that point. They're going to have to beat Clemson at some point this year to be a championship team.
All right, Daniel, before we let you run, I'm going to put you on the spot. You got to make a prediction. Are the Tigers in your playoff 4? And if not, who do you have?
I think they are. I really do. I think they're going to win I think they're going to win the ACC. I think they're going to beat Florida State twice. And then I think they're going to be in the playoff. I really like the offense. I like what I'm hearing about the offense. Guys, I saw that offense in its infancy at Valdosta State in 1993, and I love everything about it. So when I was covering Valdosta State back then with Hal Mummy and Mike Leach and Dana Holgerson and those guys. So I love this offense. I can't wait to see what it looks like coming up for the Tigers. And then my other three, I think Ohio State, whoever the quarterback is, it's going to be either Ohio State or Michigan. Georgia, I just can't discount Georgia with that schedule, everything that Kirby Smart has done with that team. And then I think USC is going to be the fourth team.
Oh, I like that. Interesting pick there from Daniel. So we're going to make our picks later on. I want to thank you so much, Daniel, for joining us tonight. It's been a pleasure having you on the show. I always love your insight, man. You always got something to say that I haven't thought about. Whether I agree with you or not, you always bring something I haven't thought about. So I appreciate you being a part of it tonight.
Wait, we're allowed to disagree? I didn't think that.
And you know what? We can still like each other. We can still like each other. It's perfectly okay. Can you believe
That's
that?
right.
Well, I was going to say, not many people like you.
That's true. They'll disagree with me, and every once in a while, somebody like Daniel will like me. Thank you, my friend. Always good
I appreciate
to talk.
you guys having me on.
All
Thanks.
right,
Have a great
thanks,
night.
Daniel Shirley from theathletic.com. We appreciate him jumping on with us tonight for a few minutes. That was really good. It was glad to get some insight from someone a little outside of the area, someone who has more of a national pulse and beat with what's going on across the country.
Yeah, I think it was interesting to hear him say that, nationally people are kind of like us, they're kind of, wait and see,
Yeah.
I think, that's the reason that Clemson's ranked 9th or 10th or whatever they are. I think that, hearing him say that kind of validates a little bit.
A little bit. In fact, if you could click that, we have a comment there that I thought was interesting. I totally get that. I mean, in so many areas, I feel that exact way. There's a few things I feel really good about, but I think for the most part, I understand what's being said there.
I think we're all in wait and see mode.
Yeah.
For a lot of, this is the last time. It's our last time to talk about previewing the season, because next Friday, a week from Friday, we're going to be out at Magnetic South in Anderson for our first game week show. So make sure you mark your calendars for that one coming up on Friday from 5 to 6 p.m. a week from Friday.
And this is the last Wednesday without football. It is back in full force Saturday. You have, a small slate of games, so college football is finally back.
Are you saying we can start looking forward to MAC action on Wednesdays now?
That's later down the road, but yes, we'll get to some action coming up before too long. I want to ask you, please follow us on YouTube, help build our channels. We've got a lot going on right now. We've got the Sunday reset that I'm doing each and every week where I'm letting you know what's going on from the week past, plus what's going to happen the following week. So it's sort of a recap of everything going on with the Sunday reset. And then right after that on Mondays, Jason Priester's got Monday Live for you. It's where you get to be part of the show here on the All Clemson Tigers show. And Jason does a great job of answering all your questions and incorporating so many people. It's a fun show. It has grown immensely, I would say, over the summer. Is that a good word to use?
Very much so. And it's so much fun doing it, especially now that the audience is starting to grow. We have a blast every Monday night. I would highly recommend joining us. You get to drive the conversation too.
Yeah. And you know what? The folks who've been on there with Jason each and every week, thank you so much. What a loyal following we've already built with that show, and a lot of great people are coming on there each and every week with some great questions, some great comments, some great insight. So we really appreciate you doing that. All right, guys, let's hit the defense, and then we got to get to some other things. Wes Goodwin, walking into his second year, what is his biggest task, Jason, for 2023? What do you need to see from the second-year defensive coordinator make you feel good about the Tigers' defense?
You talked earlier about fire for the whole team. I want to see some fire on the defensive side of the ball. We didn't see a lot of that last year.
Like the old Brent Venables days?
Yeah, we didn't see a lot of that last year. It was not that aggressive mentality that we become used to seeing, while Brent Venables was in Clemson. Now that he's had a year to kind of settle into that role, I think we see a little bit different of a mindset on defense this year. I'm kind of looking forward to how they come out in that season opener against Duke, because he has got a lot of pieces to work with, a lot of talent up front, especially on the interior of that defensive line. So many dudes on the back end of that defense. I mean, it's going to be fun to watch.
I don't really know that Wes is ever going to be a fiery guy.
No,
I don't know if he's ever going to need a get-back coach.
I don't mean him being fired.
But that being said, there are guys on this team who can carry that, who can be that. I think you've got guys like Rukororo, Andrew Makuba, guys who have a lot of fire and a lot of passion. I think leadership will be much better on that unit. I'm not trying to call anybody out. I just don't feel like the leadership was strong last year on that defensive side of the ball. And I think I got a different feeling about that group this year. Zach, we've got this ball here that people can sign up if they want to come by and win this football. You can win this football if you sign up here at Alumni Hall. One of the names on that list, Christian Wilkins, Cleveland Farrell. Those are guys from that 2018 team that were just lights out on the defensive front. Can Clemson replicate that? Do they have the people to do that, or at least maybe not the exact way that group did it, but can this be a dominant front line like you've seen in the past?
I think so. In fact, R.J. Mickens the other day was just, listing off the guys. He was going down the list. Rook, Tyler Davis, Peter Woods, XT, all these guys. I think if they stay healthy, this could be as dominant a defensive line as the Tigers have had. Now, the key is, can they stay healthy?
Right.
XT, I kind of put him in the whole wait and see. He has to stay healthy. He has to show that he can do it game in, game out. However, this defensive line, I think, has elite talent. They have elite pass rushers. They have elite defensive tackles. And now, I think that is exactly what this team has missed. They had good defensive line the last couple of years. No one that you would say this is elite. I mean, you remember walking on the sidelines in the national championship game against Alabama, and you looked at those guys and you're like, holy cow, those are some grown men. Then you saw Clemson, you're like, all right, they're a little bit undersized. I think this team has the elite
All right.
talent.
All right. Well, we shall see. I mean, I think Tyler Davis and Rook Aurora are going to have monster years. I think XT, if he's healthy, is going to really put it all together for this team. I'm questioning the rest of the depth on that defensive front. I tell you, Jason, the guy for me is TJ Parker. I think he is going to make an impact this season. I'm going to do a bold prediction right now here on the show. Why not, right?
That's time for it.
Well,
I
let's hear
say
it.
TJ Parker takes over. I don't want to say the starting job because who really cares who runs out there first? I say he gets the bulk of the snaps at defensive end opposite Xavier Thomas by week 4 when they play Florida State.
All right, so we have Mark the Tape.
All right, Mark the tape. We got it.
I like it. I am extremely high on TJ Parker. I think he came in physically ready to play. He was the only defensive end that enrolled early. Got a lot of work in the spring. Has now got a lot of work in the fall. We know he's going to be, in that 2 deep. I think it is very possible that he gets the bulk of the work, once we're a month into the season, let's say, or by the time the Florida State game rolls around.
Yep. And as you see there, Tickle Tiger getting in, they can put Rook out there defensive end too to help that depth. Wouldn't be surprised if they do some of that as we go throughout the season. And of course, Kelly gets in and says, does Peter Woods crack the starting lineup at some point this season? Man, maybe if Rook took off at defensive front or defensive end, maybe you could see some of that. But let's let Peter Woods play a game before we start putting out. I just went out and made this bold statement about TJ Parker, and then I'm trying to tell you just to wait on Peter Woods. Those two things do not work together.
Yeah, originally I thought we might see a lot of Peter Woods at the end lined up outside. I'm kind of come off of that. I'm not sure how much we see. I'm not saying we won't see him at all out there, but listening to some of the coaches talk earlier in the fall, I'm not sure we see him out there quite as much as I was anticipating to begin with.
All right, guys, let's move on to some other positions here. Linebacker depth, maybe it's going to be an issue this season. Safety depth won't. I don't think corner depth is either. Jason, kind of sum up those bad guys behind that defensive front, the back seven. What do you expect out of them this year?
Yeah, first and foremost, you need Jeremiah Trotter to stay healthy. The loss of T.J. Dudley is, if Trotter can't stay healthy, that's when it's going to be felt. I think they've made a lot of effort to get Wade Woodaz some snaps and Mike, and he sounds like he feels comfortable there now. But you got a lot of guys that you can roll in on the back of that defense. I'm not sure how they're going to get everybody on the field as safety, especially when you start considering some of these freshmen like Khalil Barnes. And at corner, they got a lot of depth there too. They got some freshmen. They got thrown into the fire there last year. Toriano Pride played a lot as a freshman. And while he had some growing pains early, I think it's going to pay off for him this year because I think he is going to take a massive jump. They got guys like Jaden Lucas. And then a couple of freshmen like Avion Terrell. There's just so many guys on the back end of that defense.
There's no question. No question about that. I tell you, you're right. Those linebackers, both Trotter and Carter, had to stay healthy. But man, Trotter, I don't think we really encapsulated how good he was last year. Like that was a guy, he was at almost a 30% pressure rate when he blitzed. He could cover. He's one of the better covering linebackers in college football last year. That guy, I don't know what the next step is for him. It's probably first round NFL draft pick is what it is. But he is going to have a monster season. He and Barrett Carter together because you try to stop one, the other's going to go make the play. So I think those two guys, you can't be any higher. I don't know if you could be higher on those two guys. You have any Clemson Tigers players who have come through the program in the last 5 years. They're as good as anybody you put them up against.
Yeah, Carter and Char are really, as they go, I think this defense goes. Yep. And I'll leave it at that.
Best linebacker duo in the country.
Yep. They're definitely in the mix. All right, before we move on to some other things here as we're previewing pretty much everything we can about the college football season, we got to touch on special teams real quick. We had a question earlier about special teams. I was trying to find it, and I think I've lost it in the mix here. There it is. How about the kicking game, punting included? Will special teams return a punt this year? Probably not going to bank on that latter part. I'll ask you this, though, Jason. Are you comfortable with the kicking situation and the punting situation needing maybe a couple weeks to work themselves out. Robert Gunn takes over for Barrett or for BT Potter. That's obviously a huge change and adjustment. And then there's a little bit of a punting battle going on. How do you feel about those two things right now?
Yeah, it sounds like Robert Gunn's starting to find some consistency, and that's what you want to hear out of your kicker, especially, field goal kicker. We'll see if he can do or replicate the kind of success BT Potter had on kickoffs. You never had to worry about somebody returning a kickoff when Potter was out there kicking. We'll see if Gunn can duplicate that. I think he's got that kind of leg, so I think it's a possibility. That punting battle, that's a little bit different.
Yeah.
I think that's definitely a little bit of concern heading into the season. You want that job locked up. I think that's a battle that you don't want going on into the season. I think that's bad news that neither one of those guys have separated themselves yet come week one.
Yeah, you'd rather just not have to see punting. If you don't see any punting, then Clemson's scoring every drive. I know the coaches would probably prefer that to be the case, but first game of the year, weird things happen in week one. You're probably going to see those guys go out there. It's a position it's hard to feel good about, Zach.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, the last time I felt this much indecision about Clemson's punting game was back in the Tommy Valley era. You had guys like Cole chasing, and the balls getting snapped over their head, and costing them games. That's the area of the game where I think a lot of people forget that it can be won or lost. It seems like every single team Clemson plays, they're facing the gray guy finalist. It's time for Clemson to have that guy.
Probably not going to be this year. We want you to join the team. You want to be sponsor here on the All Clemson Tigers show. We'd love to have you. You got the email addresses up there. If you're a small business owner, big business owner, let us know. Get in touch with EJ and Sharnita. They'd love to talk to you about bringing you on and being a part of our team here at All Clemson Tigers, especially All Clemson Tigers show and allclemsontigers.com. So get in touch with us whenever you get a chance. We'd love to hear from you. All right, gentlemen, let's turn our attention now to more of a broader view. Let's go outside of just Clemson and let's get into the ACC.
Stanford, Cal, SMU. Let's go. I can't.
Well, I mean, honestly, before we dive into the 2023 season, we must at least address the elephant in the room. No final decision has been made from the ACC presidents on whether or not they want to bring in Cal, Stanford, and SMU. It sounds like that may be coming to a head this week, but every time I say that, it gets pushed back an extra day or two. So we'll see what happens. But that's still a news story we're keeping a close eye on. And there's been multiple reports today that there's still a large push within the conference to get those three teams in. Cal and Stanford would take a partial share. SMU would take no share for like 5 years. Man, I don't know. It's hard to get the votes, but you know what? They may be able to sway them at some point.
I have actually heard that Jim Phillips, commissioner, has agreed that to punish Clemson for their insubordination, they will be forced to travel to Cal and Stanford in the first year they're in the league.
Back-to-back weeks.
Just stay out there. I mean, that wouldn't be that bad. All right, let's get into the 2023 ACC season. We'll worry about 2024 when we get some actual news on that. Are you buying Florida State? Jason, I'll start with you on this. Not only as a contender in the ACC, because I think we know the talent level is good enough to be a contender to push Clemson this year, and they do come to Death Valley on September 23rd, week 4. Could this even be a playoff team? Is Florida State that good this year?
I am absolutely buying Florida State as a top 10 team. Maybe we'll see how they match up with Clemson when they get here later in September. Mike Norvell has done an excellent job of kind of transforming that roster with some additions through the transfer portal. It's leading to success on the recruiting trail too. But for me, it starts with Jordan Travis. Arguably the best returning quarterback in the ACC, in my opinion. I think that I absolutely think they have closed the gap. Let's put it that way. Yes, they have closed the gap.
Okay.
How much is Clemson falling back towards Florida State? To me, that's kind of the big question. I still think Clemson's. I voted Clemson first in the ACC media poll, and I think they're both going to. I think they're going to play each other twice here this season.
Jim wants to know: are you surprised by the FSU success in the portal and in record time, and will this impact Dabo's future strategy? You know, the thing is, the way that they are doing, the way Florida State has created this, they're sort of kind of thumbing their nose a little bit at recruiting in a way. And now, at first, they're just trying to fill holes, but now it looks like they're just trying to build a portal team each and every year. Now, they're trying to recruit at the same time. I don't mean they're just completely punting on it, but they think they can do this every season.
Hey, Florida State right now, their current recruiting classes, last time I looked, it's ranked inside the top 5, so they are killing it on the trail right now. They've landed some big-time guys. One of the last ones was KJ Bolden. But I think a lot of that is due to the way Mike Norvell has utilized the transfer portal, added all that talent that he was able to do. And I think a lot of that was by necessity because of the era in which we live in. Fans expect results now. Administration wants results now. You don't get 5 years to build. And with the portal right there, if you're taking over a program, why not go that route?
Zach, do you like anybody else in the ACC? We've talked about Florida. Is it just a 2-team league? Is it a 1-team league? How do you look at this conference?
Duke and Clemson.
So it's a basketball league.
Yeah.
Going basketball? No.
No, I think, it's Clemson, FSU. However, I am not as bullish on FSU as Jason is.
Okay.
I think, they are, riding the coattails of a weak schedule last year and strong finish. Beating the Sisters of the Poor and South Carolina School for the Deaf and Blind. I mean, to me, this is a team, they are trying to use the portal for immediate success, and all you have to do is look at Michigan State. You saw what happened with them. I want to see this team after they come out in week 1 and get their, rear end handed to them by LSU. How are they going to respond? If this FSU team starts the season at 2-2, do they have the chemistry? Do they have the culture to rebound? I don't think so. Because, look, Mike Norvell is either killing it on the transfer portal stage, but you can't do that and sustain a program.
Well, we shall see. We shall see. That I'm not ready to say that yet because I want to see it play out. This is the most talented team Florida State has put together in a really long time, probably close to a decade. I want to see how it all comes together for them if they can continue doing what they're doing the way they're doing. If they win the ACC this year with this method, you're going to see copycats all around the country. Some teams are already doing it as well, but if somebody has this kind of success with it, we'll see where that leads. A couple teams I want to mention real quick in the ACC. Yes, I think right now it looks like a 2-team league, but there's some sleeper teams in this conference. Look, North Carolina with Drake May, what that quarterback can do, man, I have a hard time just bypassing the Tar Heels and acting like they can't be a player in this when they've got a quarterback of that caliber. And then also, I think, Pitt's a tough team. And Florida State's got to go to Pitt this year. Louisville's a sleeper. I'm telling you right now.
Agreed.
Their schedule is cake. And Jeff Brom's the real deal. And I have long stated that it is really hard to win at Louisville. I think it's hard to recruit there. But, man, they landed the optimal guy. And this could be a jump start for them this year. If anybody can turn that program into a sustained success program, it's Jeff Brom. He's going to do some big things this year with Louisville. So I don't want to just bypass everybody else in the league. I do think Clemson and Florida State are the two best teams from a talent standpoint. I'm not sleeping on Pitt. I'm not sleeping on North Carolina. And I'm not going to count out Louisville because that schedule, they don't play Florida State. They don't play Clemson. They don't play North Carolina. They got a chance to be in Charlotte, boys, if things go their way and things go against some other teams in this league. All right, gentlemen, let's move on to the national scene here. Before we do that, though, I want you to remember, mark your calendars now. Friday, September 1st, we're going to be live in Magnetic South. We want you to come out and see us there for our first big game day preview. So make sure you are scheduled for that. All right, finally here, a couple national things to get to. I'll ask you this, Zach. Can anybody beat Georgia? Can we have a year where Georgia doesn't win the national title? We had like 40 years where Georgia couldn't win it, and then all of a sudden now we've had to watch them win it, 2 years in a row. Can somebody stop the Bulldogs this season? The answer is no. I know. Their schedule's
schedule is
I was trying to think, someone. However, like you said, their schedule is cake. I think they'll run through the SEC. They'll run through the playoff.
Yep.
And then they'll TCU, whoever they get in the championship. Now, I will say this. Injuries have gone their way. They have remained extremely healthy the last couple of years. And as Clemson can testify to, if you start getting that injury bug to hit you, things can turn downhill in a hurry. So, as things stand now, I think it's Georgia's to win or lose. If you're asking me Georgia or the field, I take Georgia.
Anybody going to not put Georgia in their 4 right now?
Yeah.
No one saying no
not
to that?
with that schedule.
Yeah.
Just for reference on the schedule, I looked this up today. SP Plus, it's a metric used by Bill Connolly from ESPN. He has Georgia's schedule. SP Plus has Georgia's schedule ranked 45th nationally. Clemson's 51st. That's not a big difference there, folks. Everybody talks about Clemson's schedule every year, Clemson's schedule, ACC, whatever. Georgia's 45th with that schedule. Just wanted to point that out. Just want to bring that into the conversation.
I think they left a 1 off the front.
Oh, man. You may be right about that. There's some FCS teams with a tougher slate than what the Bulldogs might face this year. All right, is there a ranked powerhouse that could take a step back? Kind of like Clemson's done the last 2 years. Is it Ohio State? Is it Michigan? Is it Alabama? Are you buying LSU as being a returned? Is Texas coming? Are you buying them? Is there someone we consider a powerhouse that we look at right now as in that top, 8 or 9 or 10? And by the time we get to December, you're going to completely forget about that team.
I go Texas. Just because every year, every single year they're back. And, we're still waiting on Reggie Bush to finally push them back out.
Well, to be fair, the Big 12 is not strong this year. And they've added a bunch of new teams, BYU and those teams from the AAC, Houston and UCF in that group. And I don't know. I mean, Oklahoma looks shaky right now with Brent Venables. They got a lot to turn around, especially on that defensive end side of the ball. So I don't know, Jason. I'm not going to completely count out Texas. Maybe they just get cannibalized within their own league, but they'll be a player in this because I don't think they can really be challenged in their conference.
Yeah, if I'm going with somebody to take a little bit of a step back, I'm going with Ohio State.
Okay.
If you're going into the season with 2 quarterbacks, I don't think you have a quarterback. I don't like the fact,
he's going to Steve Spurrier.
I don't like the fact that nobody has won that job yet. Kyle McLeod and Devin Brown kind of battling out up there. And Michigan has kind of asserted themselves in the Big Ten the past couple of years, beating Ohio State. And I really like that Michigan team again. I'm not saying Ohio State's going to fall off the face of the earth or anything. If somebody's going to take a little step back, I'm going Ohio State.
Good answer. Now I'm going to give you one you didn't mention, tell you this is the one. It's Alabama. Alabama is taking a step back this year. Well, they didn't go to the playoff last year. They're not going to go this year either. The quarterback situation worries me. You know what worries me more than the quarterbacks? Because, I mean, it's Alabama. You can piece something together, right? You've got enough. You got 3 guys in there. One of them might get you through it. They don't have receivers. They are struggling in fall camp to find established. See, Tickle Tiger knows exactly. Tickle Tiger's a smart man. I know him. He's a very smart man. He's 100% right. Alabama is the team that you want to get in on for not getting to the college football and taking 2 years in a row. That's what Clemson just did. Look at the narrative surrounding Clemson all off season for the last 2 years. Bama does that now. Is it going to be the same? Or
No.
are people going to try to figure out how they can get back there? I just don't like the way this team sets up this year. They're good on defense, but they lost a lot. I don't trust the receiving core, and I certainly don't believe in their quarterback situation right this minute. They've still got a lot to figure out. All right, gentlemen, 4. You got 4 playoff teams, Jason? Give them to me.
Daniel Shirley would be proud. Georgia, Michigan, Clemson, Southern Cal.
That was the same 4 that Daniel put up there on the board for us.
That's why I said he would be proud.
Zach, you got a 4?
I have to be boring and go, those are my 4.
Are you serious?
Uh-huh.
Are you kidding? I tell you what, I'll switch it up. Instead of USC, you know what, fine, just give me Georgia, Michigan, and Clemson. That's fine. I could debate Clemson and maybe put LSU in there, maybe get 2 SEC teams in. But for the sake of this panel, I'll stick with Clemson. But I will take out USC, and I'm going to go Oregon. I think Oregon wins the Pac-12. I think Oregon is going to look real good. People are sleeping on this Ducks team right now. I'm telling you, they're underrated. They have the best, maybe the second best. We'll see how it works out. Running back duo in the country. They're right there with Clemson. They've got some returning receivers. They brought in some guys from the portal. Bo Nix has grown up. He's a completely different guy than what he was at Auburn. Dan Lanning's got a whole year to fix that defense and work some things out there. I'm not sure they're going to jump up to like a top 20 defense, but I think they can be, 10, 15 spots better in that this year. They profile, look at SP Plus. They profile almost exactly like TCU did last year.
That's interesting.
In terms of how they rank.
I took Oregon to make the playoff 2 years in a row. They burnt me both years. So
you're out on them.
I am going to have to see it to believe it now. I chose to go with a different sleeper team this year.
Fair enough. All right. Let me ask you this. Heisman Trophy. Can a Clemson Tiger win it? And if so, who is it?
No.
No?
Nah.
You don't think so? No Will Shipley?
No.
Cade Klubnik? Cade Klubnik's like, what, 5th in the odds?
I mean, if Clemson's going to have a Heisman winner, I think it would be Klubnik. But I'm not sure Dabo Swinney leaves him in the game long enough to get those kind of stats. Not compared to something like Caleb Williams is going to put up at USC. We've just seen Swinney in the past. He likes to rest those starters, get his bench guys some snaps. And I think that hurt Trevor Lawrence, a couple of years ago when he was one of the finalists for the Heisman or one of the top candidates for the Heisman.
So you out on Clemson guys?
Yeah.
Just not the year.
No, it's not the year. Caleb Williams is going to go back to back.
Caleb, so you heard it here. Zach is not picking a Clemson guy to win the first ever Tiger Heisman. I'm not going to either. Do you have a pick on the Heisman?
Caleb Williams.
Of course. So you guys got him in the playoff. You got to pick him to win it back to back. You know what? Just because y'all did that, Bo Nix wins the Heisman. War Eagle Duck. War Eagle Duck.
I strongly considered using him as my sleeper for the Heisman. Bo Nix.
So you're saying it's Bo time?
It is definitely. I'll say this: Jordan Travis intrigues me as a Heisman guy. He's gonna have a monster year. This offense is gonna look really good, and a lot of the defenses they face are gonna give up a lot of yards to Jordan Travis. I don't know if he runs enough this year to really have the super gaudy numbers, but that receiving core is really solid. He's a good guy to take a flyer on in terms of the odds.
He's got a lot of weapons to work with down there in Tallahassee. Make no mistake.
Yep. Now you're certainly right about that. All right, real quickly, let's just play a quick game and then we'll get out of here because we're running out of time and we don't want to go too late tonight. But we get a little bit of a late start. We're going to play a quick segment called Are We Smarter Than Zach?
No.
What's going to happen? There's your answer. He already answered it for you. Jason and I are going to collaborate on a couple things, and we're going to challenge that. And we'll see if Zach tells us yes or no. Are we smart or are we dumb? We're going to let Zach decide. All right, Jason. Win total for Clemson is over under 10. Do you want to go over or do you want to go under?
Over.
You want to go
over?
I'm on board. Over on Clemson's win total, Zach. What is it?
I am hammering the over.
So we're smart.
Yeah.
Okay, we're not dumb. Zach decides if we're smart or dumb. So you're going with over on 10 wins.
Yeah.
All right, I like that. Cade Klubnik, 3,000 passing yards.
This one's interesting. I'm going over.
I think it's right at it.
I mean, this one's interesting.
Riley Leonard had 2,900 yards last year, just shy of 3. All right, we'll go over. Cade Klubnik over 3,000
I
passing yards.
think you're both is under.
Come on. Hit oh, not that one. The sad trombone. There we go.
Let's see.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. I mean, you have guys like Shipley and, Alpha.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and Hunter Helms. Come on.
Yeah, okay. All right, that's fine. Klubnik over under 28.5 passing touchdowns, Jason.
See, this one's interesting too because I think man, these numbers are right there. I'm going
go
under.
Over.
What?
Over.
What?
Over.
Oh, man. All right. Will Clemson produce a 1,000-yard receiver in 2023? No. Clemson will not produce a 1,000-yard receiver.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're on board with us there. All right. So we're not dummies.
That's still up for debate.
All right. Xavier Thomas. Will he lead Clemson in sacks this year? Yes or no?
Yes.
I want to go no. I think a linebacker does it.
Hey, well, that's possible too.
Plus the health, Let's go no on Xavier Thomas, lead the team in sacks.
You are a genius. You're a moron. He is not going to stay healthy.
Oh, that's
this is
not
the
nice.
year he's going to stay healthy.
That's not nice. Well, is Garrett Riley going to be at Clemson beyond 2023?
Yes, I think he's
yes,
here more than a year. Not
Okay.
longer, much longer, but
All
at least
right.
more than a year.
All right, last one. Is Duke going to be a problem in the opener on Labor Day night?
Depends what you mean by problem.
Or do they cover the spread? It's 13 and a half. No, they do not cover the spread. I agree with you. Duke does. No, wait a minute. Hold on. Duke does or doesn't cover the spread? You think Clemson covers? God, see, I'm on the other side. I say Duke covers the spread. He says Clemson.
Genius idiot.
Oh,
Clemson covers. And,
all right.
I'm thinking like 17.
All right, fine. You know what? We're gonna circle these and see who the smarter
I
one
don't
is.
think they're going to blow
when
them
the
out by
season's
30
over.
or anything, but
All right. Well, that one we can tell you about in a couple of weeks. I want to thank everybody for being a part of the show tonight. We have some great folks here. Left some great comments, some great questions. We appreciate you doing that. And don't forget, we're going to do this again coming up on September 1st. It'll be our first game preview show at Magnetic South in Anderson. I want to thank Alumni Hall. Make sure that you stop by Alumni Hall. They're your ultimate Clemson Tiger shopping experience. Shop Alumni Hall on College Avenue or anytime on alumnihall.com for the largest selection of Tiger apparel, hats, Yetis, accessories. It's all around us. It's great stuff. Tiger fans, stop by here on game days. Stop by here anytime online as well. And if we're going to draw this football here coming up for too long, we'll let the winner know. Stay tuned for that. We'll get that out on our social media accounts. Make sure you're following us on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, and make sure you are a YouTube subscriber. Hit that subscribe button for us. Leave us a comment on what you thought about the show tonight. We certainly love that. You got any other questions? That's something we can get to as well. But I want to thank everybody, and I want to thank Alumni Hall especially for presenting tonight's All Clemson Tigers season preview show live. I hope you learned something. I hope you were entertained, and I hope you have a great night. We'll talk to you again very soon. Be good, everyone. For Jason Priester, for Zach Lentz, I'm Brad Sinkoff.